We have a plethora of Safeway grocery stores closing not only in San Francisco, but the greater Bay Area. They're just coming in hot and heavy, and it's all because of safety concerns. I have concern about my safety shopping at that Safeway. Let's get into it. Let's see which ones are closing. Here we go. Here's San Francisco community talking about.
Filmore District are pressuring city leaders to take action before the closure of the only full-service grocery store in the neighborhood. Advocates met outside the Safeway in the Filmore before marching to City Hall. Safeway says it'll close its store on Webster and Gary by February 7th after 40 years in operation. The chain said it made the decision due to ongoing theft and concerns about employee and consumer and customer safety. Families say the closure will make things tough for people who simply need a convenient place to buy groceries.
Have to go to a further Safeway, and we wouldn't be able to walk there no more.
When I was doing research for this story, I was recognizing, now, I covered that one. Did I cover that one? Wow, that's another Safeway that's closing? Oh, yeah. We've had Whole Foods close. I mean, we've had just all kinds of grocery stores closing in the greater Bay Area, right? Not good. And it's happening because you got a bunch of whacked out homeless people on drugs, just doing their thing, running around with swords, having sex in the restrooms. It's just standard stuff, right? It's standard stuff. ODing in the bathrooms. And that results in safety concerns, not only to the patrons, but everybody else involved in the whole grocery store ecosystem. Last week, the Safeway in San Francisco's Filmore District controversially closed its doors for good. The controversy is the residents in the area wanted it to stay open, and everybody else said no. Too dangerous. That same day, it was reported another location in Pinole, is that how you pronounce that, is set to close this April. So here's the Filmore store. It got a 1-year reprieve, and then they basically said, no, got to close. The trend continues as another Safeway in the Bay Area is closing. One of the grocery chain's Vallejo stores. So you got Filmore. You got Pinole. And where is Pinole? It's right here. Here's your downtown San Francisco kind of here. Let me get my little yellow guy. So here's your San Francisco. Here's your Oakland. And here is north of that Pinole. It's closing because, got a bunch of Looney Tunes running around, people stealing from it, all the usual nonsense. Location in Admiral Callaghan Lane is closing on or around April 11th. According to Safeway spokesperson, Safeway cited ongoing safety concerns and financial performance as reasons to shut down one of its 3 Vallejo stores. This decision was made after careful consideration, here's the corporate nonsense, an evaluation of the store's financial performance and ongoing safety concerns, meaning it wasn't making enough money to warrant the liability they take remaining open given the current safety concerns. The employees at the closing store will be reassigned. We hope that you join us at our other Safeways or shop with us online at Safeway.com. I don't even know if that's a thing. I don't know if that's a thing at all. So we got Vallejo Mayor Andrea Sorsay, who provided the following statement. I'm working with the city manager, got additional information. Hey, when Safeway says it's going to close, it's going to close. You might get a little reprieve, but yeah. Safeway said Pinole store's lease ending was one of the reasons for its closures. Good Lord, our lease is over here. That's excellent. We're out of here. We're done. We are not standing by with this ridiculousness happening anymore. Another Safeway to close in the Bay Area. Here's the Pinole one, the one up north. Another Safeway in the Bay Area slated to close just days after the Pinole location announced it was shutting its doors. Let's watch a little video. This is the Pinole story.
The Safeway has been a community staple in the Filmore for 40 years. Now, the nearest one for residents there, about 2 miles away in the Castro. Ground 4's Leslie Gooden joining us live in San Francisco tonight with more details. Leslie.
Yes, Noel, I have been following this story since the beginning. And what people don't understand is that for those residents in the Filmore, this Safeway is more than just a grocery store. It's their community space.
It's a travesty. It's destructive, and it's disrespectful.
And just like that, the Safeway in the Filmore is closed. The store's official last day was Friday, despite efforts made by the residents.
And it's difficult and it's challenging. And I know of many friends who rely on this Safeway because it's close, it's near, it's convenient. And so we go.
And community leaders like Dr. Reverend Amos Brown, who worked with Safeway, sharing they once had a close relationship. He tells me the timing of this closure, with no clear idea for the future, is disappointing.
In horrendous, evil food desert for seniors, for African Americans, for Asians, persons from the Japanese community. So it is just an image projected of not caring for.
Safeway stated last year part of the reason for their closure was due to increase in theft and employee safety. The grocery store has served the Filmore for 40 years. On Friday, they released this statement about the closure. Due to the rapid sell-through of remaining inventory, the Webster Street Safeway closed permanently ahead of schedule on Friday, January 17th. All associates have been reassigned to another store in the area. Have you been in communication with them at all?
Members of our team have been, but we are going to look for businesses that want to be in our neighborhoods.
So Safeway Corporate couldn't work out how to make it go. So you're going to come up with another business that just wants to risk their neck going in there. Okay. All right. We'll get out the popcorn and watch and see how that goes.
I'm telling you, people are coming back to San Francisco and they're going to want to be in the Fillmore.
And
so
the plan,
thank you.
the plan for that location, do we know?
We're working on it.
We're working on it. Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Safeway was set to close 11 months ago, but city and community leaders convinced the grocery store to remain open and sign a new lease, which has now expired.
We have to, like we do in every neighborhood, make sure that
this is the new mayor
be in the neighborhood so they can thrive. It needs to be clean. It needs to be safe. We are working hard on it. It is absolutely at one of the top issues that I'm looking at.
So what I would say there is, and you've got people saying it's evil. What is evil is allowing people to live on the streets doing drugs around the clock. That is evil. That is the reason they're coming into your store and stealing from your store 24/7 and carrying guns around, carrying weapons around, doing crazy stuff in the restrooms. I mean, just everything that goes along with the whacked out homeless folks on drugs running around these big blue liberal cities. That's the problem. The byproduct of that is the crime happening at a Safeway or CVS or wherever. And when they look at their numbers and they go, we're not making a ton of money there, boop, close that one. That's a pretty easy decision because not only are they eradicating the safety concern, which is that, one of their employees is going to get accosted. You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we had an attorney in downtown Seattle with a whacked out dude on meth come in and try and rape her 8 months pregnant. I mean, it just absolutely, what? People do whacked, weird stuff. And city officials know that they've got their hands full because these are people that need to be in either a psychiatric ward due to mental issues, a drug treatment center with a big detox clinic, get them sober, get them back on the right path, or prison for their crimes. Or a combination of the three, however you want to work that out. But because it's such a humanitarian issue, these corporations are basically forced to close when they haven't closed like this in the past. And it is because city officials and residents, like the elderly gentleman, have voted for progressive leadership that has allowed these situations to fester. So, we'll see what Daniel Lurie can come up with, the new mayor of San Francisco. We'll see kind of where things go. And he's, campaigned on a little bit more of a tighter rein on some of these issues. But at the end of the day, if you've had homelessness and drug abuse and all kinds of stuff just basically run rampant throughout your city, it's going to be a heck of a project to reel that back in, because these are people. This isn't just garbage you can sweep into the dump truck and haul it away. These are people. And oftentimes they don't want to go into housing. They don't want to go into treatment, and they certainly don't want to go to prison. You're going to have to take one of those three approaches in order to really address this. Otherwise, your stores are going to keep closing, and you really are going to have that supply of food, restricted. And that is what's going on. So let's read some more about what else do we have here? So it's a 65,000 square foot Hercules Safeway, a big one, offers a variety of fresh offerings, local products, and ready to serve options. Not anymore. Hercules location at San Pablo's Avenue is about 3.5 miles from the Pinole store. So a Safeway spokesperson also said workers at San Francisco Filmore District location on Webster would be reassigned. That's what they always say, right? That's what they always say. Hey, go down there. It's still open. So you've just got a plethora of closings. You just got a bunch of closings going on, and it's because of politicians allowing the criminal element to run rampant and just basically saying, putting these folks in jail, that's racist. We're not doing that. So, anything under $950, it's okay. Go ahead and steal that. Steal blind your grocery store. And then you have the community activists going, what happened? We've got a food desert. It's like, yeah, that's what happens when corporate says, we're not making enough money here to take on the liability. Somebody's going to get killed, and we don't want it to be at a Safeway. So closed. We'll leave the other ones open that have less theft, that have less homelessness, that have less drug abuse, that have less all of that stuff that goes with, big blue cities and their inability to basically push back on crime in general. You don't have this necessarily happening in big Republican cities, do you? No, because they arrest people. They arrest the bad guys and put them in jail. They don't allow homelessness to just go wherever. They just don't. They push back on that, push back on that, push back on that. And then where do all the homeless whacked out nut jobs end up? They end up on the West Coast, because it's West Coast, best coast, right? For homelessness, anyway. And that's what you got, San Francisco being part of that equation. So, if you read enough of these stories, you recognize, okay, it's really sad for community members to see this happen. And for those folks like in the Filmore, where you've had a grocery store there for 40 years, all of a sudden it's going away. That should be your wake-up call, that you need to go down that road of less progressive and more drop the hammer on criminal activity. Push back on crime. But San Francisco is very liberal, and I don't see that happening. And until people wake up in San Francisco, it's kind of like, hey, tough luck. You had a good 40-year run, but now it's no longer safe, or business, conditions aren't there to make up for the overwhelming liability taken on by safety concerns, meaning somebody might get killed. Somebody might get accosted. Who knows? Somebody might get assaulted. You don't know. But that is what's going on. And people want to say, yeah, but it's a food desert. Yeah, that's what happens when stores close. This is the inevitable byproduct of that. And then people are like, I don't get it. This is terrible. This is food injustice. Well, the way that you voted, the way that your city acts has a lot to do with this. So take a close look, make that vote count. And, maybe at some point you'll start to get some of these grocery stores back. Not anytime soon. That ain't happening anytime soon. Because if Safeway can't make it, a lot of other big corporates going to go, I don't think so. No, we're going to go put our grocery store here in the suburbs where we don't have this ridiculousness. And that's just reality. All right. That's it for me. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff, and I'll see you then. Bye for now.